Hi, and welcome into Real Conversations. I am Thomas Manning here with the Reel to Reel Film Festival in Kings Mountain, North Carolina. I'm so thankful to be joined today by Mr. John Gray, the director of a phenomenal short film, Extra Innings, starring Peter Riegert and TJ Tyne. Thank you for joining us today, John.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. So first off, I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on the trajectory of your career in general. You've done TV, you've done short films, you've done feature films, and across a very wide array of genres. And so, what has the kind of adaptation process been like for each new project? What are some of the things that you
Okay,
try to learn from each new project?
well, first of all, yes, I've been very lucky to have kind of a long career and a very varied career, um, doing lots of different genres, lots of features, TV, movies, short films. And of course, I started out making short films as a kid, many moons ago. And what I found is as I've gone through my career and um, enjoyed making the films I've made, all of which I've been able to write pretty much as well. Um, and now, it's at a point where things are so glacially slow to develop anything in Hollywood. It takes a long time. You have to have an enormous amount of patience. Now we've got this, pandemic, which has kind of stopped production dead in its tracks. And so I started becoming, kind of more interested in short films again. Um, and the reason I became interested in I should just say that a few years ago, I made a short film as a proof of concept sample for a feature film we were trying to raise money for, a horror movie. And so we did a 7-minute sample scene of that film. And when it was finished, we got such a good reaction to it. We thought, well, this might be just a standalone thing by itself. And we started putting it to festivals and had a lot of success with it. And I just started thinking to myself, this is so satisfying to make a short film, to not have to play Mother May I with a studio or a network or anything like that. So I just basically started making shorts. I'm trying to make one every year, sometimes 2 a year if I can. And while I continue to develop, I'm trying to get another TV series mounted. We're still working on a couple of feature films, but in the meantime, I get to do these shorts and have a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, certainly, I think we appreciate what you've done with Extra Innings and getting more specifically into that one. You had to balance a lot of different tones over the course of this short 8-minute runtime. It kind of starts out as a sports journalism type genre, and then it evolves into something more kind of melancholy and reflective and almost heartwarming and a beautiful family drama, just kind of all of those. So, what was that process like in balancing all those different tones?
Well, it just, it's you can't really try hard to do that. It has to sort of happen naturally out of the story and the characters. And oftentimes when you start writing something, the characters start to tell you what they're going to do, and they start to resist if you have a certain thing in mind about what they're going to do next, and it's not working, and you realize they're resisting it. They want to do this. So it's really about listening to the characters and trusting the characters, and just trying to find that line between sentimentality and honesty, and it's a fine line, and I hope that we tread it well in this movie.
Oh, I would say you certainly did. So,
Thank you.
yes, sir. And I think looking to the script and the dialogue, the first 3 or 4 minutes or so, just journalistic banter, like sports journalism banter, and then you have to switch that completely to kind of reflective, contemplative, almost philosophical dialogue. So, what was that transition like for you?
Again, it's all about the characters and where they are in a particular moment, moment to moment. The beginning of the film is more like it's like a little sword play. They're trying to deflect each other. The manager doesn't want to answer these questions. He doesn't want to really reveal anything about himself, and the reporter has to try to find more and more clever ways to get this guy to trip him up and get him to talk. And I think what helps also is trying to, as a director, just trying to block it in a way that keeps it energetic, keeps it on its feet. I didn't want to just do two guys sitting at a desk, which I could have done. I probably could have shot it in half the time. But it's much more interesting to actually have this guy up and around and physically trying to get away from this reporter, and having the reporter follow him from place to place. So it's also helps being an old guy like me and having done it a lot, you sort of, it becomes a little bit instinctual after a while.
And the performances from TJ Tyne and Peter Riegert were both absolutely phenomenal. So was their chemistry kind of natural, or did you kind of have to work hard to get them to get it right?
No, I had to do very little work with those actors, and that as a director, when you cast anything, that's your ultimate goal is to try to try to get actors who are going to bring to it so much more than you see on the page. Because your job is not to teach acting, it's not to trick them into a performance. Your job is to make them feel safe and get the best out of them in that safe environment. And Peter Riegert is just a phenomenal actor. I've worked with him before. He's a friend, and he's just a pleasure to work with. Very smart. And TJ, I did not know before this. I had not worked with him. I knew his work, and I knew he was a really good actor. But he just brings to the set a great energy, and he's prepared. He knows exactly what he's going to do and how to do it. If you give him an adjustment, he does it beautifully, and then builds on it. So I was just lucky to have actors of this caliber. And it's funny when you do the first rehearsal of the day, and you watch them play together, and you just realize, wow, this is like I could just sit back. It's like driving a Rolls Royce. I could just relax and watch these guys work.
And Peter himself, he was nominated for an Oscar for a short film back in 2001. So have you kind of learned anything from him over the course of your friendship and your career that you've taken and applied to your directing of short films?
I think you did your research. Very good.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Peter was full of great. I mean, Peter was also very helpful on the other end when the movie was finished, because he is very experienced at going through the film festival circuit and what all the politics of that are. So he was very very helpful and very giving, very very generous with his advice, and that's the kind of guy he is.
Well, before we wrap things up here today, is there anything that you want to share that I didn't touch on?
I don't think so. Just except to say that this is I feel this is a character-oriented film, and I wish we could see more of these. Because I love. I mean, I make dark films too. I make a very edgy film. I'm working on a horror film right now, a short horror short. But there is something about an emotional drama that I think really connects with people, and people need, especially at times like this.
And if people want to keep up with your work, whether that be through social media or online anywhere, where can they find you?
Well, my Twitter handle is J Thomas Gray, Gray. I pretty much announce everything we're doing, on Twitter.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, John, for taking the time for this today. We really appreciate it at Reel to Reel Film Festival.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. And that's going to wrap things up for Real Conversations. I am Thomas Manning alongside John Gray. Thank you so much for tuning in.